Are we in the middle of a global reset?
Something is emerging that's never happened before. Mother Earth is awake and awakening to a higher frequency. Earth is vibrating higher than it's ever vibrated before. You have to open yourself up and realize that wherever you are, the fullness of love is right where you are. If you come back to the awareness that everything is working together for your good. Mother Earth is waiting for humanity to come to that higher frequency. But are we in tune with it? Are we listening? Are we open? This is a grand time to be alive.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wondered what's going on with the world and what in the world to do about it, then do we have the Life Visioning Show with Michael Beckwith for you. Today I'll be talking with Michael Beckwith, famed speaker from The Secret, best-selling author, and founder of the Agape Center, about a global reset, what it is, what's happening, and what it means for you. So welcome back to the show, Michael. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready, Michael. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm here to be with you to see the flow from the get-go.
Woohoo! And I must say, I love your energy, Michael. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much. It's a good reflection of you because you're a high energy kind of guy. So it's very infectious, and we both kind of vibe off that same frequency.
Has anybody ever said you're not a high energy kind of guy, Michael?
Nobody's ever said that except sleeping.
Very good. So on that note, are we in the middle of a global reset?
Oh, absolutely. You know, on a couple of levels. You have, first of all, the level of Gaia, the Earth itself. Mother Earth is awake and awakening to a higher frequency. From a scientific point of view, the Earth is vibrating higher than it's ever vibrated before since the time science has measured the frequency of the Earth. And on a shamanistic level, the shamans tell us that Mother Earth has awakened and is waiting for humanity to come into alignment with the higher frequency. So based on that, there are great shifts that are taking place in the infrastructures of systems that have been set up. Systemic systems are that are in decay, that are decadent, not in cadence with this higher frequency, are coming under scrutiny. Some are falling apart, some don't work anymore. So the whole Earth is in a flux. Things are fluxed up, Michael, in a very powerful way. So Mother Earth is waiting for humanity to come to that higher frequency. Those who choose to grow, those that choose to unfold, those that choose to embrace enlightenment, those that choose to embrace compassion and love and kindness and generosity, those that choose to come out of their comfort zones, those that choose to not get to walk lockstep in the status quo will find this shift a lot easier than those that are hanging on to the old perceptions, old point of views, old positionalities, old opinions, enamored with their own thinkingness. They'll have a little bit more difficulty. There'll be worry, there'll be doubt, there'll be fear, there'll be anxiousness, there'll be anxiety, which, as we can see, in many cases have been normalized in the world. So yes, we could call it a reset, or we could call it a new set. Something is emerging that's never happened before. So we're not just resetting to something old, we're actually setting ourselves up to go into a higher frequency of that which is possible. This is a grand time to be alive.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love that you said new set, and the term set up comes to mind because on one level, with Gaia awakening and waiting for us, it appears like things are fluxed up, like things are completely falling apart. But maybe that's by design to wake us up to the new possibility and the new way of being.
Oh, absolutely. If you understand the chaos theory from the layman's perspective, is if you step back far enough from chaos, you'll see underneath the chaos there's an emerging order that happens. You step back far enough from a caterpillar you'll see a butterfly emerging. You step back far enough from a seed that appears to be dying, you'll see the roots and the shoot of a new life emerging. And so definitely there's something emerging now. And even though it hasn't fully manifest, it hasn't fully become visible, for those who are in tune intuitively, with direct knowing through meditation and through insight and revelation, you can see that something new is happening. And the old is falling apart. It's dissolving. The difficulty for people is that if they're in the old paradigm and they're getting their information from the old paradigm news cycle, everything is wrong. If they're getting their information from the higher frequencies, through meditation, through prayer, through visioning, through hanging out in powerful spiritual communities where you come into alignment with the higher frequency, then you can begin to see that something else is trying to happen. So it depends on where you're getting your news. If you're getting it from the blues or if you're getting it from the real news, it determines your state of consciousness, you see. And if you can vibrate at a proper state, then the new stage will emerge with a greater sense of dignity and ease and love. It's we're in some wonderful times, you see. As the book says, this is the worst of times and the best of times. The worst of times for the old paradigm, the best of time for that which is emerging.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would add a shameless plug, do something like automatic writing in there. Or I was teaching a meditation yesterday where you lean into a portal that's actually carrying you to a new dimension, to that, like Paul Selig's guides call it, to the upper room. We get to hang out at a higher level, at a higher vibration. So I'm leading the witness here on the next question. How do we prepare for the goodness and whatever's coming next?
I like the word preparation because the next unfoldment comes through our inner preparation. We have to stabilize and normalize certain frequencies. We have to stabilize and normalize gratitude. It has to be just a part of who we are. And that doesn't mean we just have to be grateful for something. We can lift our attitude and become grateful for nothing. We can just live in a vibrational field of gratitude, which is a preparatory stage for unfoldment, preparatory stage for new birth, preparatory stage for the emergence of that which we can't see with our eyes yet. And in order to do that, we have to extract our attention from that which is decadent, along with its fear and worries and doubts that come with it, and go in and begin to be grateful that we exist at all, that we are alive, we are awake, we are aware. That's a beginning stage of preparation. Now, so we get there, and then we have to stabilize that. And what does that mean? The normal individual, say they come on this program with us, they're listening to us right now, or they come into Agape on a particular day and they're feeling the high vibe. Maybe they came in with an issue. They came in with a problem. They came in with something that concerned them. And then temporarily, they're free from it. They're feeling good. They're feeling that life is for them. Nothing is against them. But they accidentally hold their place on the problem, meaning they'll walk out and they'll say, what was I worried about before I came in here? Oh, there it is. They'll hold their place in their worry. What we want people to do is to hold their place in the miracle. Hold your place in the higher frequency. Hold your place in those moments where you were at your wit's end and something came and served you to a higher level. We have to learn to hold our place there rather than to hold our place in our worries. Now, if we hang out in gratitude, if we stabilize it through holding our place in the higher frequencies until that becomes our new norm, then that which is all around us, which is supporting us, the universe supports us, the multidimensional parallel universe is progressive. It's always working on our own behalf to become a greater version of ourselves. Everything is working together for our good. Now we're not denying the life force, the source of all creation that wants to come through us. We're not using our egoic perceptions, our coping mechanisms, our defense mechanisms to defend ourselves against the onrush of good that wants to take over our life. It wants to live our life through us, for us, and as us. We're now in sync. We've given it permission to say, here am I. Shine through me. Love through me. Give through me. Ooh, be through me. Mm.
Woohoo! So many directions, Michael. So much goodness I can go with this. I think where I want to start is you mention decadent. And decadent to me means addictive. It's something so rich, we can't say no to it. So if we're imbibing, I'm going back to the apple in the Garden of Eden here. If we're imbibing in something so decadent, we can't let go of it. How do we shift our mind, shift our being, shift our perspective to that radio station of the multi-parallel universe so we can have the onrush and good rather than being stuck with the decadence?
Mm-hmm. Decadence, that's just, you brought up the word addiction. There's two things there. One, addiction means that we are attracted to something outside of ourselves. We're addicted to something outside of us. There's another word I'm looking for. It'll come in a minute. To ourselves that we think is bringing us happiness.
Yes.
And so,
or security.
Security, happiness, joy, peace. So we projected the good, the love, the happiness that's here. We've put it on something out there. And if that gets moved or changed, we grieve. We're not really grieving the thing. We're grieving our thought that it's bringing us happiness. So we have to bring our attention back. And when we think about decadence, it means out of cadence with the harmonizing good. We're not in cadence with it. We're in cadence with our thought, egoic thought that's being projected external to us. So we have to come back into cadence with the word, the vibration, the frequency that birthed the multidimensional universe that is for us. And that's where spiritual practice comes in. Spiritual practice is not about attaining something out there. Spiritual practice is about eliminating something, because who by taking thought can add 1 cubit to their stature? It's about eliminating the obscurations of the mind so we can see we do have it all already. We just projected the all out there. And then we become addicted to the thought of out there. If it moves, we're sad. Nothing's moved. So we're shifting our positionality. We're shifting our perception. And this is why spiritual practice is very important, not to attain, but to release the mental obstacles to see that we already have it. It's already here. It's already now. Whew. And so we say to ourselves, like, the 12 steps, we create our own 12-step anonymous. We call it Ego Anonymous. I have an ego. The ego is trying to make this little identity survive. It's creating coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms so that the ego can survive right and wrong. I'm right, everybody else is wrong. But when we understand that it's not to govern and run the show, we start to set ourselves free.
Thank you. You got me thinking about the ego of all of humanity. And I may be leading the witness here. However, we often feel at this time helpless. I can't do anything for humanity. However, if we get ourselves reset or to a new set or vibrating at that greater cadence, isn't that enough?
Absolutely. Each and every one of us are a holographic expressions of the whole, of the infinite. So we think of ourselves as a part of the whole, but the whole can't divide itself into parts. The whole is everywhere fully being itself. So everything that we do, even if we think it's minuscule, has a big effect on everything. So everybody can't do everything, but everybody can do something. And if we do something with integrity, with love, kindness, compassion, generosity, it affects everything. Someone sitting in their bedroom at the altar and having a kind thought about their neighborhood, the neighbors may not even know they're doing that. They may not be on the front page of the newspaper. But just that moment of coherence around harmony for the neighborhood affects the entire neighborhood. We have no idea what that woman or that man in their bedroom stopping and having a moment of love and kindness, we have no idea what they prevented. We have no idea what thought form was dissolved because of that, you see. So yes, it doesn't have to be grandiose, doesn't have to be on the front page of the news, doesn't have to be dramatic. We're holographic expressions of the source of all creation. One moment of coherence, it's like dropping a pebble in a lake. One moment ripples throughout all eternity.
Thank you. Speaking of coherence, and you mentioned multi-parallel universe, before we started, I did a prayer for angels and guides and guidance. Can we connect for the purposes of coherence, for the purposes of vibrating at a higher level with angels or guides or multidimensional beings or something to help bring us up to the level that we're struggling to get to, even though I know you will say it's already inside of us?
It is inside of us in the angelic realm, the ancestral realm, the archangel realm, the guardian angel realm. They can't intercede unless we ask for help. That's a universal law. They cheer us on, they bear witness, they love our potential, but they can't intercede unless we actually become available, unless we actually ask for help. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I can remember a few years ago, I was in Costa Rica and I got caught in a kind of like a double riptide and I couldn't get out of it. I was extremely exhausted. I drifted way out into the ocean. My daughter and I were the only ones on the beach. There was no one for help. And she was like a little ant way on the beach. And she stood up because she knew something was wrong. She knew I was having a challenge. And I remember going underwater, swallowing a lot of water. And I remember thinking to myself, is this my last day on the planet? I hadn't had any prophetic dreams about this. And I didn't feel that it was my last day. So I popped up and out of my mouth came this. This was not even a conscious thought. It just came out of my mouth. I need some help here. I need some help. I asked for help out loud in the ocean. And then I programmed my mind. I said, regardless of how tired the body gets, don't give up. Do not give up. And so I started swimming in to the sides. It took me a long time, but I finally got in. Obviously, I'm here with you. I finally got in. My body was breathing. I mean, it took me a long time to catch my breath, so to speak. So anyway, I come back to Los Angeles. I talked to a friend of mine who is a medium. That's what she does. And I told her about the experience. And she said, do you mind if I peek and take a look at what happened to you? I said, no, go right ahead. So she turns within, she does her thing, and she says, oh, you asked for help. I said, I did. I said, it just popped out of my mouth. She said, the moment you asked for help, an archangel gave you 3 waves. And that's what happened. I had 3 waves that came in that gave me momentum. She said, and she reminded me, she said, you know, the archangel couldn't have helped you unless you actually asked for help because they can't intervene. And then it was already, Michael, but it became a greater dimension of my spiritual practice. I do my meditation every day. I do my prayer work, and then I always ask for help. It's because I just to allow what you're talking about the universe, the archangels, the guardian angels, the angelic presence, I'm giving them permission to assist me in any way possible.
How does that change? Does that change the tenor, the timbre, the energetic expression of Michael Beckwith? How do you feel on a day where you've done that?
Available and open. You know, we believe in receptivity, reception. Part of our teachings is receptivity and spiritual realization. For years, I've been saying this. You know, you want to be receptive to the multidimensional universe, the presence, the love that's seeking to have an influx through you. And you want to have a realization, meaning making it real. You want to embody that within yourself. So you're not just sending all the energy out there. You're actually having a realization that it's here. So it's a combination of receptivity and realization. So I feel like available. I guess that would be a good word. Available and at the same time strong. Available. So it's a combination of yin and yang. It's a combination of feminine openness and masculine strength in one vibration.
I'm hearing Dr. Amit Goswami coming through you right now. And what he is saying, I don't know if you've ever heard him say this or not, doobie doobie doo. It's a balance between doing and being. The receptivity, the action, and also the pause is what I'm hearing. And you're being sure to take, well, we've got Kitty who's now doing the interview. You're being sure to take that pause as well so that you remain open.
Every day. Complete stop. No trying to get anywhere. Just having a realization that all is now me. All is now me. Right here, it's the pause that refreshes. The real pause that refreshes.
I like it.
Not the sugary soda, but the sweet taste.
The last time I had a sugary soda, I was doing some ultra runny thing and I had finished the run and I passed, I don't know, a Pepsi or a Coke machine and I hadn't had that stuff in forever. And I'm like, oh, it sounds perfect. Guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. And right back out.
The body said, oh no, not today.
That is not the pause that refreshes. Au contraire. Are there positive indications that we're moving in the, I'm going to put it in quotes, right direction?
Yeah, I appreciate the quotes because the omnipresence is omni. It's no direction because it's everywhere. But I liked what you did there. Yeah. As people say, you know, how do I know I'm getting better? How do I know I'm going in the right direction? And I don't feel any more spiritual. How do I know? You can't really feel spiritual, but you begin to get certain signs. And those signs are, there's a greater sense of patience. There's a greater awareness of non-judgmentalism. You notice that you may see things in the world, you may see things in people that you don't like, but you don't have a hard judgment about it. You prefer that not be there. You prefer that a person not do that, whatever that thing is. But it's not full of judginess. You know what I mean? It's just, There's a greater sense of the normalization of kindness, of a quicker getting to a sense of forgiveness about stuff, rather than holding on to animosity or resentment. You notice that you don't have a strong desire to be right all the time. You know, that kind of disappears. You just want to be in alignment with truth. So you listen more than you talk. You know, you may have an opinion, but you hold your opinion lightly. You're not going to fight for your opinion. Oh, this opinion is right. That opinion is wrong. You have one, but you don't hold on to it lightly. So you listen more because maybe you look at the opinion you had when you were 16, it's probably not the same opinion you had when you were 26 or when you were 32. So you just so those are kind of indications that you are coming into a greater sense of spiritual maturity.
Is there a way to see that? Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Is there a way to see that? You're not going to get that in the news, what I call the negative, worthless stimulation. You're not going to find it there because it's still, if it bleeds, it leads. But is there a way to see that in the world today?
You can see it in the world if you look for it. There's two things. One, there's so much good going on the planet that's not highlighted, as you said, if it bleeds, it leads. There's a lot of kindness, a lot of truces, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of creativity, a lot of art, a lot of beauty, a lot of new inventions. There's a lot of good happening on the planet. And we've been addicted to the negative. We've been addicted to looking for what's wrong and trying to fix it. So if you start to look for it, you'll start to penetrate the miasma of negativity, and you'll start to find it. And then you'll come to a mystical awareness that what you're looking for, you're actually looking with. You're actually, it's just like your spiritual, it's like your spiritual calling. The fact that an individual decided, oh, I'm going to tune into Michael Sandler today, that thought and that feeling that said, I want to tune in, that is God trying to emerge in you. That's not a foreign agent saying, you should listen to Michael. That is actually your real self trying to come out. And it's coming out as a thought, oh, I should tune in and listen to this in this conversation. I should go to Agape and listen to the message. That's God. So what you're looking for, you're looking with. And so if you start to look for the good, you can do this with people. You check yourself when you're in a room and someone walks in. Notice if your mind has been hijacked by, ooh, what's wrong with that guy? He seems arrogant. I don't like the color of his socks. Where did he get those clothes? You notice, is the mind looking for something negative, or is the mind looking for, he's here. He must be a good dude. Wow, I really love the way he's carrying himself. You start to notice if the mind has been hijacked by fear and judgment, or whether your mind is now slowly being programmed by looking for the good. And the thing about it is, you can begin to reprogram your own mind. So you're actually looking for the beauty. You're looking for the good. I mean, you can do, there's a Zen meditation that if you look at garbage in a garbage can, the surface mind would say, oh, that's garbage. There's an old banana peel and there's an old can of tomatoes. Or in the Zen meditation, you say, oh, that banana peel used to hold a banana that I ate and it tasted so good. And that can of tomatoes, oh man, it was a part of my spaghetti. It was so good. That's not garbage. That's just the evidence of a really good, nutritious meal that I had. So your mind can frame anything, garbage or the evidence of something beautiful that's going to now become compost and become the absolute fertilizer for new good to emerge. How is the mind is it hijacked by negativity, or is it being reprogrammed to look for good?
I love that. And the microbes are partying. They're thanking you. That banana has many more lives to go. I was supposed to do a world championships and swimming and biking coming up in a few weeks. But fortunately, or I'm just going to say fortunately and fortunately, we have a heart procedure we get to do with our baby. And she's doing great. You saw her. She's doing absolutely awesome. So I did this race against the clock just in cycling a couple days ago just to see where I'm at. And this gentleman I've never met before, by the name of Ken, he started 30 seconds in front of me. And so my job is to catch Ken. And I'm getting out there and I'm chasing Ken with everything I've got. And I'm not getting closer to Ken. It's not going to happen today. And what did I do? I started sending Ken love. I started cheering Ken on. I started going, you go, Ken, you rock. Which to me is the new set of going from competition to co-opetition, where we are working together as one, no matter what, no matter whether that person is red or blue or polka dot, or it just doesn't even matter. It's just plain love and oneness.
Well, absolutely. Well, the mature understanding of competition from the beginning meant that you're going to bring out the best in me. By us, quote unquote, competing, I'm not competing against you, but you in your excellence is making me go deeper to find my excellence. So we both climb higher and higher on the rung of excellence because of what we are competing in or as. So Ken made you probably go faster than you would have gone if he wasn't there.
Absolutely. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, but not too much of a switch. What are some of the challenges and the risks we may face during a global reset or new set? How do we overcome them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the risk is that, one, we feel that we are alone in this. Many people have kind of hunkered down and are feeling cut off to a degree. And so the challenge of that is you're blocking all of the light and the love and the assistance from everywhere that can come in. No one is ever alone. As you know, Michael, alone means all one. So there's a risk in thinking that you are. You have to open yourself up and realize that wherever you are, the fullness of intelligence, the fullness of love, the fullness of beauty is right where you are. And with that, there is a degree of safety and security that comes from knowing that. Nothing outside of you can make you secure. You can have all kinds of alarm systems on your house. You can have bars. You can have all kinds of stuff, but security is actually an inside job. You actually feel secure within yourself, and then things work out for you as highest and best as they can. So during this global reset, what infiltrates the mind is aloneness that then leads to loneliness, and then loneliness can lead to depression. Depression is a lack of expression, which then creates a downward spiral. It leads to a feeling that there's not enough when we live in a sea of abundance, a feeling of scarcity and lack. We live in a sea of abundance and opulence. Then it leads to poor decisions, because if you're feeling alone, lacking, scarcity, not enoughness, then the thought forms that emerge from that sense are thought forms that lead to actions that take you down a downward spiral. So if you come back to the awareness that everything is working together for your good and it's here. Now, of course, this is not just a thought. It's a practice until it becomes a feeling.
Can you give me a direct example as you're going through this?
Okay. So you're feeling lonely. You have a cat.
Yes.
There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love there. As soon as I said the word cat, your face went, ooh, he went to a great smile. So if someone goes within, maybe they have a cat, maybe they have a dog, maybe they have a memory of a friend, a loved one, whether they're on this side of the veil or the other. And they think about that being, and then a tremendous amount of love, a tremendous amount of coherence around I'm not alone begins to take place. That starts to express in them. What happens? Now they begin to bring into their awareness higher vibratory thought forms. And those higher vibratory thought forms lead to a higher inner conversation. It leads to a different action in one's life. So now you go on an upward, ever expanding cycle, and you're able to catch insight and inspiration directly from the source, because you've come into vibrational alignment with it. Now, the eternal broadcast is just that. It's eternal. The broadcast of the Spirit is eternal. You said earlier, how do we turn our station, to that broadcast? It's always happening. There's no on and off in the source. The source doesn't turn itself off and go to sleep at night. I'm off.
That'd be a holy something moment.
Oh, my God. So the source is the source is the source. God is God is God. Love is love is love. It's always being itself. but are we in tune with it? Are we listening? Are we open? So again, by opening ourselves up in the way that I've just described, you get inspiration. It starts to breathe itself through you. You start to have a new idea. It starts to pull you into new conversation, new action, and then something else happens. Your relations change. Because you have a new signal emanating from you, other individuals pick up on that signal and they come into your orbit. You may run into people and you realize you've never met this person before, but it feels like you've known them for a lifetime. Why do I feel so close to this person? I just met them 2 weeks ago. And then you begin to see that there are certain people in your life that are acquaintanceship. You may have known them for a long time, but you never vibrated at that level of coherence around connection with the presence. And you may be with somebody, you only met them for a short period of time, but there's coherence there. That signal starts to allow you to see people differently. In other words, your ego may be saying, I want the people in my life to look like A, B, C, and D. But then you start to release this signal and you start to meet people that you would think, your personality would think, I would never like this kind of person, but you're connected from the inside out. There's a coherence. It's like, wow, this person is a real spiritual friend. But my personality would have never gravitated for this person. But now that I'm connected with something deeper within me, they have mysteriously found their way into my life. And now I can't even remember when they weren't here. So many things begin to happen when we begin to come into a coherence with that higher frequency.
Thank you. And to me, it's like attracts like. You become a tuning fork of the vibration where you're at, which is why, watch, when you're taking junk food and things like this, I'll put that in quotes, junk food, where is your vibration at? That's what you're calling in. I want to double back to depression for a minute, because you were talking depression and an expression, which to me is creativity and getting plugged into that inspiration, plugged into that energy from source. There are many people today that are depressed and exhausted. And I think that is all of that information, an information overload that is, in a sense, deliberately exhausting us. How do we break free from that cycle when, if you've managed to get this far, to listen to this point of the interview, you're still going, I feel like there's an elephant on my chest. How do I possibly move forward?
You've covered a lot of material right there in your question. With depression, there's a lack of expression, and as you've said a lot there in that. So in order to move out of that, 1, move your body. 2, find some way to serve someone else. Those 2 things alone will move the energy. So that's now stagnant. It's just stagnant energy that's becoming more and more encumbered upon itself. So if you ask, how can I serve? Now the mind is saying, I can't serve, I'm depressed. Oh my God, you just don't have any idea. Now the exhaustion, and you mentioned this in a different way, the exhaustion are thoughts, because we have infinite energy. So if we're exhausted, that means there's a loop of thinking. A lot of it's from the news cycle, the downward spiral of the news that we get every single day that leads to thoughts, perceptions, more thoughts, beliefs, etc. So if we begin to move, just walk around the block. Just walk. If you walk around the block right now, 10-minute walk, the white blood cells become generated. Just walking. It's interesting because there's a pharmaceutical company that said they were going to produce a pill this next year that will up-level your white blood cells. But people don't understand. If you just walk around the block, it happens naturally. Your body's it's a pharmacy. So if you just walk around the block, white blood cells go higher. The cortisol is dissolves. Serotonin is increased. Your mind becomes more clear just walking around the block. Now, if you walk around the block and actually begin to say to yourself, I'm full to overflowing with divine energy, walking and talking. And then if you add that to, what can I give today? What can I serve today? How can I serve today? The energy is starting to be creative now. It's starting to, instead of being depressed, expression is starting to happen. Now, we don't want to belittle or diminish clinical depression. People are actually in that mode of suffering, but if you want to start to move out of it, take the basics that I've just given you, and it will start to create its own momentum. So inertia will become momentum, and then momentum will become a lifestyle, and then the lifestyle will become a way you live your life. And then there are gifts that you can't even see yet that will begin to come into your orbit because your mind is becoming more and more free from debris of being separate from the source.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So my parents visited. Right now I've got Jessica's parents visiting, but my parents visited a few weeks ago. And my dad kept saying over and over again, I need to walk. I need to exercise. He's 82. He's healthy, but challenged a little bit. I need to walk. I need to exercise. I need to get moving. And I would say, well, come on, Dad, let's go for a walk. No, not right now. Come on, Dad, no. It's the, you can lead a horse. I love you, Dad. Sorry, I'm calling you a horse. You can lead a horse to water. However, if the horse is ourselves, what do we do? It's almost like you just want to press a button and it catapults you up out of bed and into a walk. What can we do to... You ever been to a roller coaster, Michael? At the start of a roller coaster, that guy pulls the gear and there's been a chain that's been going the whole time. This is an old school roller coaster. And all of a sudden you're connected to the source that's always been going. And now you're chugging along and you're about to have the ride of your life. How, when we're in that place, do we flip that gear?
A couple of ways. One, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Stop and ask for help. Just like when I was trapped in that riptide, I said, I need some help here. And help came. Turn within and ask for help. Say, you can even say it that way. I need some help here. I need some help. And then according to that person's vibrational pattern, help will come. It can come as an insight, as a revelation. It may come as a phone call from somebody saying, hey, I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go to the park, or whatever the case may be. But if you ask and ye shall receive. So you ask for help. That makes you vulnerable, open. Remember, receptivity then leads to realization. You become receptive, and it pulls you out of your present paradigm. And then do something small. A lot of times people think they're going to change their whole habit in one day. Do something small. There was a woman, I can't think of her name right now, but she wrote a book on mysticism. She had become a great spiritual teacher. And she tells the story of her life was disarray. She was depressed, and she asked for help. And the voice said, order your sock drawer. She said, what? She said, bring some order to your sock drawer. She said, no, I'm depressed. I've got issues. I got bills. I got bills to pay, and my back is hurting. And what? Order your sock drawers. So she got her sock drawer out, and it was disarrayed. It was all tangled and messed up. And she started matching her socks and putting them together, matching her socks, putting them together. And something happened with her mind where she felt and began to see a sense of order that was bigger than the sock drawer. But it became a pathway to her realizing that there was order everywhere, and that her mind had become cluttered with fear and doubt and worry. And then that led to another step, led to another step, led to another step until she developed a full-on spiritual practice and eventually just woke up to the greatness within her own being. If you ask for help, you might get something small. Just go clean up your kitchen. Just get the broom and just get that dust up and put it in the trash can. It might just be something you might think is insignificant. Go in your backyard and look at that rose that's bursting through the cement. You might get something insignificant, but all of the presence is right there. And then it will lead you into other steps that will ultimately become your path to glory, your path to radiating the light of the infinite, you see.
Woohoo! It's when I'm in and it doesn't last long, but when my emotional state hits that skidder, I've given some news, something has hit me viscerally. What am I going to do? I'm going to go clean something, Michael. I don't care what it is, but it will change. It's an expression and it will change my state. And then I get grounded.
Yes. Change your state.
You mentioned practice. I'm very curious. What are some of the other pieces on top of asking for help each morning? I know you mentioned some earlier today. And maybe you can share with us specifically one. What is a practice or practices that you do on a daily basis, or what are most important to you on a daily basis?
Okay. There's a number of people may know of something called the Tetris effect. And that is whatever it is that you put in your mind before you go to sleep and you first wake up in the morning. Basically, when you first wake up, you're in what is called the hypnagogic state, between sleep and awake. You're not fully awake, but you're not asleep either. It's like you're right in the middle. Your subconscious mind is very subjective. It's very open at that moment. So what I suggest, and this is what I do myself, I write down certain affirmations, certain things I would like to see manifest in my life. I write them down. And when I first wake up, no internet, no social media, no news. I don't even like to talk to anybody at that moment. I first wake up and I read it. So the first thing that's going to my mind is, I, Michael, am at one with the Christ presence. I have dynamic peace of mind. All of my needs are met. I'm of great service to humanity. There's a whole list of things that I have for myself, my family, and certain people that have asked me to pray for them. They're on my list. So while I'm in that very receptive state, and then I say, and it's all happening now. That's the first thing that happens when I wake up, and it's the last thing before I go to sleep. I'll read it. I'm getting ready. I'm going to bed. I'm getting sleepy. I have it on my phone, and I have it also on a piece of paper. So I just read it. So the last thing that's going into my mind are those creative ideas that I want to see manifest. So it's affecting my subconscious mind. I do that every day. Okay. So then when I go to the place where I meditate in the morning, I'll read it. And then that will launch me into a prayer. And then I go into stillness and silence. But the idea here, let me just give you just one other point. When you're reading it at the morning and the evening, you're not trying to make anything happen. It's not clutching. It's not forcing. It's not manipulating. It's not, I want to attain this. It's just, I'm reading it. Oh, it's happening now. And then I forget about it. I just forget about it. I go on about my day. Now, this is what happens. You start to be guided by your subconscious of the things you've planted in there that you just forgot about. It's like when the old wishing well, when people would have wishing well, they throw a coin in, they forget about it. They're not sitting around watching the coin go down and say, oh, I hope this happens. And then when it does happen, they forgot that they even threw it into the wishing well. Try to make anything happen. You're accepting that it's happened, and you go about your life. And what you planted in the unseen soil of your subconscious begins to show up as ideas, wisdom, guidance. And you'll even notice it. Like I've noticed it in certain family members. I will say, so-and-so is happy and successful and healthy. That's how I think about them. And then I start to notice they're acting different. They have a different kind of motivation. We're all connected spiritually. At the center, we're all connected. So if I know something about you, this is why prayer works. It's non-local. Prayer is the first wireless technology. If I know something about you inside of here, I'm not manipulating you. All I'm doing is knowing what your soul already knows, and I'm magnifying it. Your soul, the group soul, is magnifying the Lord, the great law of life. So that's one thing. It's very easy. Everybody can do that. Everybody can write down a little list, read it when you wake up, read it when you go to sleep, and forget about it, and go on about your business.
I love it. And I forgive me for asking, but you said I have several. And so I'm wondering if you can give one more. That is brilliant. And I know starting today or this evening or whenever people are catching this, that many people are going to go to sleep tonight and do just this.
Yes. And then, the universal presence that birthed, that allowed the universe to emerge from it. The universe is progressive and ordered. It answers every single question that we ask. And so you want to make sure that you're asking an appreciative inquiry. You want to have a question that lifts you. Many people, we go back to, if it bleeds, it leads. We go back to people addicted to what's wrong. They live in downward spiraling questions. What's wrong? Who's to blame? Why me? Why do bad things always happen to me? They live in a disempowering question. You want to have a question of the week that your mind just surrounds. A question like, why? Why do I have too much money all the time? Why am I always healthy? Why do things always work together for my good? Why am I so loved and supported? Why does my body regenerate and renew itself with ease and with grace? Take a question and live with it. It doesn't have to be just for a week. It can be a question you live with a long time. But you want to take a question where your challenge is. And instead of saying, why is this happening and why do bad things always, reverse it. You can also do affirmations. But if you ask it in a question, the universe will start to answer that question in a language and in a way that you can understand.
What if, forgive me, we don't believe it? Can we still ask that question, and what happens energetically?
Oh, absolutely. It assists in changing the belief. If you don't believe your need is met, you don't have any money in the bank, or you have very little. Of course, it's incredulous to the surface mind. But if you ask the question with sincerity, the belief will start to change. You're starting to open up horizons and vistas in your awareness. Just asking the question, the universe will start to answer it. Little pinpricks called demonstrations, little pinpricks called manifestation signals will start to show up in your life. Oh, where did this gift come from? Why did this person just give me this? What's it made me something you may notice something as minuscule as somebody just let you over in traffic. That never happens. I mean, people speed up if you put your blinker on. You start to notice little synchronicities. And then that begins to build the frequency of belief. So definitely, if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. There are, some people don't believe, have any belief in gravity, but they're not floating off the planet, Some of you believe the earth is flat, but they take a plane and fly to Australia and it goes in a circle, So there's belief, which determines your experience, and there's belief that blocks your perception. But if you ask the right question, an empowering question, it begins to disintegrate that belief.
Thank you. I want to get to the envisioning the future and what you believe is coming for the future of humanity. However, before we do that, I have watched you evolve both publicly and I can just sense privately as well over the years, over the decades. What is the most interesting change, if you don't mind sharing, of Michael Beckwith over the last few years?
I had a thought about that a couple of weeks ago, and I realized that I don't have to get ready for things. It's like I'm just who I am. I'm just ready. I can remember years ago talking about preparation. There was a level of preparation to get ready for doing whatever. I'm going to speak to the United Nations. I'm going to go work at the Dalai Lama. I'm going to do whatever. I had to get vibrationally ready for it. Whereas now, I don't have to get ready. Most of the time, I'm just kind of who I am, just kind of ready. I mean, I didn't know what we were going to talk about today. Just there's Michael Sandler. Okay, what are we going to do? I'm just me. I'm just me. You don't have to give me any questions. I'm just me. So I think that's been something that I've noticed about myself. So therefore there's not a lot of future anxiety about what I'm going to do when I get there to do it, whatever it is I'm called to do. It's just, this is who I am. This is what I know, and it'll speak through me.
Is it alignment? Is it coherence? Is it doing the backstroke in the energy of source or being tuned into that station long enough? What has allowed you to relax into you?
I love the word integration. Alignment, I love alignment. Alignment is one of my favorite words. You keep aligning, and then alignment, you integrate with it so there's not a split. And then it becomes an embodiment. It's like, this is who you are. You see, you are confidence. You are love. You are beauty. But you don't stop there because it's infinite. So you, for lack of a better word, you keep growing, which means you keep eliminating the dust and the grit that's keeping you from being the next version of yourself. So I like words alignment, coherence, integration, embodiment. I love those words. And there's not a lot of futurism about it. It's like it's here, it's now. It's gonna look like a better future, that quotes, but it's just more of you being unblocked by limited perception. And it's okay. Listen, it's okay being happy and being in joy most of the time. A lot of times people attach their happiness and joy to an external circumstance. You know what I mean? I'll be happy if this happened, or I'll be happy if that happens.
Well, and we're also told right now, Todd, go to your news, there's this tragedy, which there's this, forgive me, shooting or experience that's taken place, which there is. I should not, and I'm using should, I'm putting it in quotes, but I'm using that for a reason, because we should all over ourselves. I should not be happy right now, but my understanding is we have never helped ourselves, let alone the world, by bringing our energy down or dimming our light.
Never. It's socially unacceptable to be at a memorial service or be around a tragedy and be happy. It's not acceptable. It's like, are you on drugs? What are you doing? Did you take, doesn't mean that sadness is not passing through your awareness. Doesn't mean that you don't carry a preference that this, whatever the tragedy is, didn't happen. But there does come a point where you're able to deal with things appropriately, but without the diminishment of the intrinsic joy of your own soul. A good friend of mine, her son just passed over. And it's obviously, it's one of the most a parent losing a kid is, because the mind is framed towards, no, I'm supposed to outlive my kid, So, and then I know her very well. We've been praying together. And she has been brought up in this teaching. So people kind of think she's in shock. Now, there's sadness there, of course. She's crying. Yes, she didn't want her son to die. Absolutely. All that's there. But she's also aware that he's alive and she's connected with him. So people think she's in shock because she's not like totally bereaved. You know, she's definitely sad, or I should say sadness is passing through her awareness. But what she decided to do was think about all the love and the good that they had during the brief time they had together. He's like in his 20s. And she decided to be a vibrational memorial for the greatest qualities that he has, that he gave while he was on the planet. He was creative. He was generous. He had all these qualities. Still does. So that's where she took her attention, which is interesting because in the Islamic tradition, in the Sufi Islamic tradition, you grieve for 40 days. The 41st day, you actually create some kind of memorial using the qualities of that person, so that you're actually building a vibrational memorial for that person. So that you're taking the same energy of grief, but transmuting it into celebrating their life. So there's great work to be done in that area.
That leads right into thank you. And I send her all my love, even though I've never met her. Thank you for sharing. I said never met her is not even true, because energetically we are all one.
Right.
We are grieving as a planet. We are grieving as a species. We are grieving as energetic beings having an energetic experience through this reset or new set. What can we do to embody these new qualities? And how does Michael Beckwith envision the future of humanity?
I live as I like to use this word, tip of the spear of transformation in service, not servitude. And I have a book called 40-Day Mind Fast Soul Feast, and I distinguish between service and servitude. You know, servitude, you're working for somebody, it's a burden, you're a lowly servant kind of person. Service is different. You're actually serving the presence, even if you're helping someone else. So as we are in this reset, we have to keep opening ourselves up to how can we be of service. That allows for a tremendous cosmic energy to flow through an individual, you know, or a community, or everyone on this particular podcast with us today. Many people block that because they don't want to be in servitude. You know, that's one. Two, we have to give ourselves permission to let go of the weight of getting. And we have to open ourselves up to being and giving. There's when we say I have to get that to be happy, that's a vibrational weight upon our shoulders. We have to let that go. And we have to ask, how can I give? How can I share? That puts us in right alignment with the law of the universe that's always giving. But now it has something to give through. You know, can you imagine a light bulb, you know, talking about I have to get something? The light bulb is receptive to electricity. So so then it glows for electricity. We get to glow for God. We get to glow for joy. I'm not saying any of this is easy. It's simple. But it takes intention. There has to be a level of sincere intentionality. And with sincere intentionality, ways out of no ways open up for us. I am a spiritual optimist. An optimist is not an individual that doesn't see challenges. An optimist is an individual that knows there's a solution to every challenge. There cannot be a problem without an answer. That in a universe, there can't be a problem without an answer. It doesn't exist. You see, that means it would just be a diverse, but it's not. It's a universe, you see. So when I look at what we call the future, I see the emergence. I mean, okay, right now on this planet Earth, there's a solution to every single issue. Some are being suppressed by status quo agendas for profit. They don't certain answers to certain solutions are being released because it would mess up the profit cycle for certain individuals. But there is a solution to every single issue we face now. The only thing that we need now is the willingness and the intentionality of a tipping point amount of individuals that are willing to go to that level, and then we will see great strides in very short period of time. There are solutions. There are technology that can eliminate all plastics out of the ocean and turn it into renewable oil, a renewable non-toxic oil. There are solutions for the reintegrity of our soil on the earth. There are solutions to the replanting of our rainforest. There are solutions to the dissolving of the last bastion of the ego nations that are trying to be number one rather than being number one, being one with the one. There are solutions to everything. But people have to wake up, come out of the sleepwalking, come out of the fear mongering, the sense of separation, the right, being right. Two wrongs don't make a right, but two rights don't make a right either. There's only one right, and that is the absolute awareness of our oneness with each other. So I see beauty emerging. I see it. I feel it. It gets me up in the morning, puts me to sleep at night. You see, I'm not a doom and gloom guy. I am a die and bloom guy. Let the phoenix, let that which needs to die, which is decadent, let it die so that the new can bloom.
I'm wearing a phoenix right here.
Yes. Hey, there you go. Here it is.
A couple last questions. We may or may not have time for meditation. This has just been too good. I'm loving this, Michael. This is a question we have been asking ourselves, my wife and myself. It seems that there is a critical mass coming. It is all energy. Everything is all energy. And at the same time, you look at an ocean, you look at whatever we want to see going on with the earth right now, and you ask yourself, is the internal shift enough, or are there other things I get to do in the externality as well?
That's a yes and a yes. So the internal shift fuels the action. There's an old Zen statement. If the right person, and when I say right from the Zen context, I don't mean right versus wrong. I mean a state of consciousness. If the right person does the wrong thing, it turns out right. If the wrong person does the right thing, it turns out wrong. So if your internal is in alignment with that which is real, it will fuel your actions. Your actions will become more potent. But if you're not in alignment, and if you think you're doing all the right things, you might be just getting in the way. You might be just a busybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like the old missionaries that went into other countries to try to turn people to a misunderstanding of Christianity. You know, they got in the way of people really being connected to the present. They were busybodies. You see, they were the wrong people doing the right thing. So if you are in alignment, then that internal shift is very important. Then everything that you do is infused with that. Smelling a rose, washing your dishes, helping somebody, everything gets infused with that internal coherence. Yeah.
And on that note, you have a beautiful podcast that's been released. Agape is now open. Tell us about all of this, because this is the highest level alignment and energetic game.
I'll give you three things that we're doing. One, you just mentioned my podcast. It's called Take Back Your Mind. So wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Spotify or Apple or YouTube, Take Back Your Mind, Michael Beckwith. And the reason I named it that, because as we've kind of subtly talked about a little bit today, people's minds are hijacked. They've been hijacked by the status quo. The mind has been hijacked by fear and worry and doubt and a deep sense of separation. So I have guests on, and I teach solo as well, to take back your mind and allow it to be integrated into the higher frequencies of oneness and love and creativity and generosity, etc. Because the mind, we're not our minds. We have a mind. The mind is a set of programs, and we didn't do all those programs. Those programs came from society and religiosity and false schoolings and things like that. So we have to take it back, reprogram it, and allow it to be programmed with love and with possibility. Now, a mind that does not embrace possibility, if your mind doesn't embrace possibility, your eyes will not be able to see opportunity. It's an impossibility. You have to have. So we take back the mind. And then secondly, or firstly, doesn't matter, Agape International Spiritual Center has been in this incarnation going on 36 years now. We're in our 36th year. Or we're in our 37th year. I can't remember. Anyway, it's open now. People are now coming because we were locked down for a while. So our 11 a.m. service begins with the meditation, and then the Worship Celebration Fellowship service begins at 11:30 a.m. So anyone who is in the LA area, you can come worship with us and celebrate with us, sing and dance with us at 11 a.m. or and 11:30 on Sundays. All three services, 6:45 way of meditation service, 9 o'clock worship celebration service preceded by an 8:30 a.m. meditation service, and the 11 and 11:30. They're all live streamed on agapelive.com or Agape's Facebook page or Agape's YouTube. All of that's going on. That's two things. Now, talking about vibrational alignment, there is these clinically tested frequencies that have come out of this integrative hospital out of Tulsa, Oklahoma for many years. People would fly in and get the integrative medicine. Then they'd go into these chambers and listen to these frequencies for depression, anxiety, digestion, male and female, balancing, all kinds of things, success. There are actually like 30 frequencies that make you your bodies vibrate. That's available now online. It's called SOAK. SOAAK.com. Now, I worked with one of the founders, and if they go to SOAK, SOAAK.com, they get a free 7-day trial, and if they put in Agape 50, they get all the frequencies for 50% off of the life of the contract, life of the thing, the subscription. It's less than $15 a month. It used to be $1,000 a day for people to go there and do this. So that's vibrational alignment. That's our.
Oop, hold on one second. We have an Alexa that has gone nuts. Alexa, please cancel.
She was about to remind you about Take Back Your Mind.
I like it.
Podcast and Agape International. So those are the three things I would leave you with. They'll all help you come into a level of coherence. And, and I've said for years that spiritual community grants you immunity from the lower frequencies of life. So check out Agape International. Check out Take Back Your Mind. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Woohoo! I will leave it on that beautiful note. I don't think I've ever had anybody say check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I'm going,
that's an old rap
is
song.
that Easy E? I'm wondering if that's Easy E or who was that?
I can't remember either, but I'm going to find out as soon as we say goodbye to each other.
All right. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Definitely get in alignment and coherence today, and above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! So Rue has magically appeared at the end of this beautiful show, and he's going, Daddy, I just woke from a nap. I need to get outside. We will do that, and we will check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Oh, I love you, Rue. I love you too. I hope you've had an amazing show. This is really what it's all about. It's about alignment. It's getting in coherence. It's about raising to that upper room and to that higher vibration. On that note, be sure to go to dailywoohoo.com, where you can get our newsletter to get you in alignment, to get you in coherence, to get you vibrating at the highest frequency that you can. Here's a link to the next amazing show as well. Love you guys so, so much. Keep on shining bright. And yes, Rue would say, how does it get any better than this? Right, Rue? Now he's quiet. Love you guys so much. Oh, there we go.